Hi, and welcome to today's Mindset. I have Betsy here with me. Betsy is the team lead of two awesome teams. We have Tampa Bay Internationals and Tampa Bay Investments and Miami International Investments. Betsy, thank you for joining me here today.
You are so welcome. I'm happy to be here.
So today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about you and your teams and what makes you so successful and awesome. And obviously there'll be a little bit of I guess, parallel talking about how you've kind of incorporated SetSchedule with your team. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into the real estate space and kind of, what makes you so special?
Well, I don't know if you would consider me special, but I'm definitely one of a kind. Um, I am originally from Illinois and I now live in Florida. And I've been here since 2015. I originally got into the real estate space because both my parents became realtors with Century 21. And then my father really pursued a career in multifamily apartment investments. And so he started with two single family houses, and now our family himself partners has about over 4,000 units in Illinois. So kind of moved from that retail space into that investment space. And then I actually was a criminal justice major in college and pursued kind of like a career in kind of law enforcement, and then ended up working with my father for a summer, and then 9 years later was kind of a partner in his company and his business partner. So I started in really multifamily investments and property management is how I started my real estate career.
That's awesome. So it's because usually it's the other way around. You start in the real estate space and buying and selling, for others, and then as you accumulate some cash, you start to kind of work into it. So, what do you think some of the skill sets that you have that were translated from managing properties to being able to manage, helping others buy and sell?
So I think that really my father's business mindset, it was never, hey, Betsy, you're an employee. It was, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be a business owner. So I think one thing that real estate agents really don't comprehend when they become a realtor or when they become an investment specialist is that you're legitimately an entrepreneur. Thing about how I teach and train agents on my team is that they don't work for me and they don't work for their broker. They actually work for themselves. So I think that a skill set that I have is that everything that I do as a team lead and everything I do when I am working with investors that want to set up that portfolio, or even a family that wants to buy a single family residence, I look at everything big picture and kind of out of the box thinking. And I really do have that entrepreneurial mindset.
I think that's super important because, like you said, most agents don't understand that you are your business owner. If you don't get up and you don't go out and you don't, invest in yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. Most agents expect for some reason that they're going to wake up in the morning and there's going to be someone knocking on their door saying, "Hey, I've got a listing agreement. Let's sign it and let's move forward." So, I like that mindset. What makes you passionate about the real estate space? What is it that you enjoy doing so much?
I live real estate. I breathe real estate. I even tell people when they come to me and say, now we're in a hot market and everybody hits me up and they're like, hey, B, I wanted to get into real estate. And I'm like, look, it's not a career that you can just do and not be passionate about it. So coming from the criminal justice background for me, I was a substance abuse counselor, I was a probation officer. I was generally trying to like rehabilitate and help people. So I kind of carried that with me in my real estate career. So whether it's a first time home buyer, and I've done everything from a $50,000 mobile home to a multi-million dollar development project. So I really want to help somebody and provide a solution to whatever their need or problem is. So even right now, I'm doing some rehabs, some wholesaling on top of running my real estate team. And the same thing with realtors that want to join my team. Most people come to me and tell me, hey, I'm ready to interview. And I kind of flip it back on them and they go, actually, tell me what you're looking for because I can tell you if I can help you. So 90% of real estate agents, if you look up the stats, 10% of agents do all of the work and then 90% don't sell at all. So I think that having that business mindset, and then it also just helped me that I truly enjoy it. I think that real estate is the sexiest asset available. I think that from architectural to structure, from buildings, and just the passive income is just phenomenal. There is nothing else that you can do, whether it's doggy coin, crypto coin, whatever, market, which I would invest in zero of those. You can take an asset that is appreciating, that you can leverage, and that you have massive tax deductions for.
Right.
So it is just a sexy asset, and everything from, getting it grimy on a construction project to actually sitting with bankers and doing deep cash on cash return analysis just is really intriguing to me.
So for anybody who is thinking about getting into the real estate space, if you haven't sold them on becoming a real estate agent at this point, I don't know what else you could say to bring them on board. So talking about that, because you do, obviously as a team lead, you have a lot of agents who come on board and a lot of them who are new. What's some advice or what are some tips that you give new agents that kind of helps them advance their career a little bit sooner? Because I mean, you know how this goes. A lot of agents come into the business and within a month or 6 months, they've ran out of the cash, not realizing how much of an investment they need to put into it. So what's some advice you can give someone who's thinking about getting into the real estate space?
So the first thing that I do when we interview agents is I ask them to explain what they're looking for. Why do you want to get into real estate? What do you like about it? And what do you think that it's realistically going to be like? The first thing I say to them is, if you open up a business year one, you don't work 8-hour days.
Right.
You have
You're a
4
startup.
people. Correct. So you have to put in 8 hours worth of labor time, but then you have to put in another 4 hours of research and education.
I love it.
So the first year that you do this business, you're working 12 to 16-hour days. And I would never tell anybody, even if you could make $1 million a year, to spend 16 hours out of their time, because time is the most valuable asset we have.
Right.
Can't replace it, can't put a price tag on it, to
Right.
do
Right.
something they don't like. So usually I say to people that want to get into real estate, why do you want to do it? What do you like about it? Now let's take what you like about it and make you an expert in that. And then you get really niche focused and you become an expert in what you like. And I also don't sell them a dream. I let them know up front that prior to criminal justice, I was a dance theater major, believe it or not.
You've got an extensive background.
Yeah, so I taught dance and coached for 15 years. And there were some times with kids, it's like, hey, if you're passionate about this, that's awesome, but it's not a natural talent for you. So, real estate is sales skills, real estate is relationship building, and real estate is a lot of talking. So, if you don't like those things, sometimes you just have to realize within the first, I tell people, you'll realize in 30 days whether it's for you or not. But I also give them positive reinforcement. And what I tell them is real estate, from my grandfather to my father to me to now my kids, we have this legacy of real estate in my family that I'm really blessed to have been a part of. And it
awesome.
can feed everybody. And then it also has so many different outlets that you can play into. So I am encouraging to them in saying, don't make it an 8 to 5 job. Get involved in real estate and then create investment opportunities for yourself. Whether you choose to sell investments or not is okay, but
Right.
create these passive income assets for yourself. And not only do you have that constantly flowing, so then when you retire, you have kind of this nice portfolio to fall back on. So I encourage, but I am raw and real. And I say, hey, here's the raw and the real about the real estate game. The real estate business it's very cutthroat.
Mhm.
You have to not have thin skin. You have to have thick skin.
Mhm.
And you have to be able to multitask with your personal life and your business life. And you're genuinely an entrepreneur.
That's awesome. So one thing you touched up on, which I don't think we've touched up on much in this podcast or in this mindset podcast, is turning your assets and making them into reoccurring, just passive income. As entrepreneurs, I mean that's our goal, right? Our goal is to be able to take our assets and take $100 and turn it into $100 throughout the rest of our lives. What are some ways that you can, or some, I guess, what are some ways that you'd be able to take your assets and be able to convert that into passive income, whether it's real estate related or not?
So the first thing that you have to understand is what good debt is. You have to understand, if I'm going to, give someone $1, what is my return on investment? So a lot of people have the mindset, and especially the old school mindset that has trickled down into my generation, that, well, I want to own something outright. It's like a car, it's a depreciating asset. So when I walk in to buy a car, I go, I want zero money down and I want a low interest rate. I don't want to put money into something that's not going to make me money.
Well, as soon as you drive off the lot, there goes 20%.
Exactly. So the cool thing about real estate is that we appreciate, and right now we have a high seller's market, but
Yep.
money is very cheap. So, if you can get an FHA loan right now and put 3.5% down at a 2.6 interest rate, then even if you overpay a little bit, you're still doing all right.
Right.
So what I tell any first-time home buyers is, this is an asset that you can turn into be something that you can leverage. The first thing that people don't know a lot about is HELOC loans. The day after you close on a personal residence, you can put a $50,000, $100,000, whatever, how much equity you have in the property, may not a ton day one, but you can put a HELOC on it. So that 50 grand, let's say, just sits there at a 1% interest rate. You can use it anytime. So let's take that 50 grand and go buy something else. Let's buy that duplex, or let's buy that something that's passive. And then you do the same thing consistently. So it's always important when you buy real estate to know your exit strategy. What's your goal? What's your exit strategy? Are we going to hold this for 6 months and sell it? Are we going to do a buy and hold? And then one thing that we do and I teach is how to be full service to your clients. You have to have the team of people there, right? So we start with a real estate attorney that can set up an LLC asset. We start with an insurance person that knows how to get a short-term rental policy. If they're doing Airbnbs, that knows how to get a rehab policy. If they need a vacant policy, that knows how to get a regular policy that's a decent price if they're only holding it for 6 months, but they got to have liability because tenants are in it. Then we have our financing guys, and we have everything from commercial to hard money to interest only, so they can then refi it out. And we want to know, like, are you going to buy this asset and in a year want to pull equity out? How do we get you there? Because we never want the flow to stop. We don't just go, well, you want a duplex, let's find a duplex, right?
When we're
And
done
then we
there,
have a
right.
tax guy. And the tax guy is going to tell you, hey, you can have 6 things in a portfolio. Everything might not be a massive moneymaker, but you're getting a ton of write-offs. So when you look at someone's portfolio as a whole, you got to understand the tax deductions and tax breaks in real estate. So we set someone up with a platform. Here, tell me what your goals are, what you want to do, and how can we keep this a revolving line to just build you a whole portfolio of assets.
Wow. That was a lot. That was awesome. I mean, so no, that was a lot. And in the sense of, look, I mean, most people come into the space and they go, I want it, but they have no idea how to execute on it. It's great to have that idea and to want to do it, but for you to come out and actually, again, the reason why I say it's a lot is because I think you threw out for your general, I guess, homeowner who wants to be able to convert their one property that they own and now wants to go buy a second one. Well, what do I do with that first one? Do I sell it? Do I, put it out as a rental? There's so many different questions that, there's so much going on with what you said. So I'm a new, and especially in this day and age where most people don't own. I mean, my generation, you want to say it, I'm 32. My generation, the generation below me, we don't own anything, right? We don't have cars. We use Uber. We don't buy the properties. We rent them out. I coming in as a first-time home, buyer. I want to buy a property. What kind of game plan, what kind of mindset, what strategy do I need to have to say, okay, I'm going to set myself up, not for that first property, but I want to set myself up for two properties, 2 income properties plus the property I'm going to live in. How do I set a 30-year plan for myself?
The mindset that is really difficult in my generation, your generation, the younger generations, is these YouTube, Instagram fantasies, right? Okay. Everything is go big or go home. And really what people want is efficiency and they want convenience. And so a lot of millennial home buyers want like more new construction avenues, and they like condos. Where can I go live where everything's convenient and I can
Right.
maximize my time? So what you really do as an agent and talking to a client is you find out what their needs are versus their wants. And most of the time, what their
Okay.
initial needs are, they have no idea.
Right.
So when
Right.
you're good at selling real estate, if you came to me and said, I'm single, I'm 32, I get a little cash in the bank, I have a dog, I work as an IT guy or a marketing guy from home, I'm going to go, okay, where can I put this guy in a space where he doesn't become house poor and the house isn't a chore? It's somewhere where he can live and operate at a maximum value and then also be able to use that asset later on. So what I don't do is, and all the time, people say stuff to me, even friends that are agents. Someone comes to me and goes, "Well, I have a budget of $800,000."
Mhm.
Well, I don't set their search alert between 750 and 800.
Right.
I still go out and look and I go, well, can I find something at 575 that fits their needs? Or, so for a first time home buyer, I think right now, and I think, we all know you fight inflation with inflation. So
Okay.
the cost to live is just high right now.
Right.
So everybody needs to box themselves in to have their monthly cost of living be as low as possible. So for somebody to buy a condo for 250 grand with a $600 a month HOA fee, and that HOA includes internet, water, cable, they don't have to pay to mow yards. They don't have to pay
Right.
to service an exterior of the building. You have to look at that $600 a month as it seems like a lot, but you're going to spend that anyways.
Fair
You
enough.
have a gym in your building, you're not buying a gym membership. You have a pool in your building, you're not going to find somewhere. You have a sauna, maybe you have a restaurant, all of those amenities. So I kind of try to evaluate what are somebody's needs, but how do they live? What's their personal life? If you have a dog, do you want a dog park? I'd rather go to the dog park than clean up dog poop in my backyard. I got to mow the grass in. You know what I mean? So did that kind of answer your question?
That absolutely. I mean, so I guess that's the basis, and one of the things you touched on is right to beat inflation, you got to play the inflation game, and that starts with lowering your monthly expenses. So in this market, properties are. I mean, if you look at the property from 2 years ago versus today, I mean, I don't know about how is it in Florida and in Miami and Tampa. How are the prices now there?
So Florida has always been higher than the national average. So one thing that I can talk about is how we're an apex market. Prior to this big crazy housing market, Florida always was apex where rents were rising and the cost of homes were rising. So not every market is that way.
Mhm.
Florida is booming when it comes to technology. Tampa has been named the #1 real estate market in the country.
Awesome.
Cost of rents in the top 10 cities, we made 5 that upped cost of rents from 2020 to 2021 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Miami was #1, Tampa was #2, St. Pete was #10, Orlando was #4. So really, in reality, Florida's not going to see some big bubble. Now, since I'm recorded, that's my opinion.
Don't hold me to it.
Exactly. Don't sue me. But it's very simple to gauge supply and demand. So we have an influx of people coming, right? And a
Mhm.
lot of calls we're getting are even like, well, I live in New York, but I can work virtually. So I'd like a short-term rental for 6 months. Um, so we don't have the supply of rentals of single family residents for the demand of the population. We are technically smaller than New York and California. So you can't gauge an apple with an apple, right?
Right.
So there's a difference there. So it for
Apple
us,
with
it's
an
not.
orange.
Yeah. For us, it's not. I guess it would be an apple and orange. For us, it's not that there's just lack of inventory. We don't have enough supply, so we don't even have enough land to build on to supply all the people coming here. So we're lucky in an essence. I don't think we're going to have some big bubble here. Would I encourage someone to pay $30,000, $40,000 over what I think something is worth, not necessarily. So I think you just have to be good at evaluation and taking a look at that.
So I want to bring it back to what you were talking about for someone who's, who we're looking to start your first time, property. Would you recommend someone buying into this market if it's their first property?
Absolutely. 100%. Because the cost to borrow money right now is low, and the feds are going to raise the cost of money this year. We don't know how many times, but they are going to do that. So absolutely, I suggest that people buy. I think just like even starting with a condo, my play for somebody that had a little bit of cash was go ahead and get that FHA loan and put 3.5% down, buy that condo, know what your exit strategy is. So your next play would be maybe to get into a bigger space, and then you're going to rent that one out. So live in it a year, refinance after a year, and figure out, do you have enough equity to drop that, mortgage insurance? Do you have some equity in there that you can pull out to buy something else? And can we put a tenant in it? And let the asset just to continue to appreciate. Right now, in reality, if someone bought a property in the next year, I mean, it's crazy, how fast we're appreciating. We also do conservative analysis. I mean, even if it tells me your property is going to be worth 50 grand more in a year, I'm probably going to go on the conservative side, and just make sure that's correct. But if I was somebody young, a millennial, the first thing that you do is you find an expert. You don't go try to sell your home FISBO or go buy and you find, if you got cancer, you'd go to a cancer specialist, and you're not going to tell the cancer doctor, you're not going to follow their plan.
Right.
So is every real estate agent an expert? Absolutely not. So you find someone that's an expert that can guide you through the process, be full service, connect you with all your resources, and then you make educated decisions.
So how do you find an expert? I mean, we don't even have to say it. Every person knows 5 different agents. If they, threw a rock outside their house, they probably hit 10 of them, right? But how do you start to differentiate the experts, such as, someone like yourself versus someone who's kind of shooting the shit?
Well, I mean, everyone knows in today and age we have Google. So, I mean, if you're going to buy a car, you're going to Google and see exactly what reviews are on their website. How do they treat their customers? If you go on a car lot and you walk up to somebody and you say, hey, tell me about this 2020 Jaguar. What type of engine does it have? And they go, I don't know. I got to get my document over here. Yes, there's always questions that we have to say, hey, we'll get back with you on, because we want to make sure we're 100% accurate. But the gist of things, it's not really that hard to tell. One thing we do is, for all of our buyers, we pay for a platinum home warranty out of our commission, because a buyer doesn't pay commission. The seller does.
Right.
So I also think that service is important. When you're buying an asset, whether it's something to live in or an investment property, you have to have a relationship of trust. So even when an agent goes to join my team, I give them the phone numbers to 4 other agents on my team. And I say, hey, call these people and ask what it's like. Actually, I'm going to invite you to a team meeting and watch me teach. What I do with a client is, if they're an investor, I say, hey, let me give you some references. I want you to call these people and ask them what I've sold them, what their P&L reports look like, etc. For a first-time home buyer, I would do the exact same thing. If I have someone in their 20s that wants to buy real estate, I would say, how many agents have you interviewed? Not everybody's a good fit. I have fired clients before. Not a good fit for me. I am from south of Chicago. I am not a Floridian. I move at lightning speed. I'm very straightforward. I have the capability to not make emotional decisions. So if it's somebody that kind of can't do that, especially in the investment space, I'm probably not the right fit for you.
I understand. And I think that, I mean, so how did you get to where you are? I mean, it sounds like you've put an awesome team together. It's not only yourself and your team of agents, but you have an entire ecosystem and framework around, pretty much helping anybody. What steps did you have to take and it might be extensive, but what steps did you have to take to get to where you are?
A lot of failure. So when I went from being this big guru in my hometown and my father had this great reputation, I thought I was just going to show up in Florida in 2015 with 10 years experience. My business was going
Just
to take
kill it,
off.
huh? Right.
And I did nothing but be very sad for the first year. And, if I could have found a Betsy then that had a team structure like I do, where we do everything for our agents, we do their marketing, we do their lead generation, we do their training. I haven't met a lot of other team leads that do what I do. And that's kind of where I failed. I broker hopped 4 brokers. I tried to find a place to fit in. I went with all the older gents that were the gurus and they did luxury real estate. And then I went over and did the KW thing and went to the bold meetings and was like, I want to be like those people. And I didn't find anybody that actually was willing to say, here is exactly how you set up your business. Here's exactly how you succeed. So by year 2, hustled really hard. And I made my own relationships in Florida and I created my own brand and my own reputation. And I did really well at that point. I did over 100 houses or something with me. And then I had another girl that kind of worked with me. And then that's when I decided that I really wanted to build a team and that I wanted to offer a team structure for agents that didn't have to have them go through that. So I spent 4 years building a program that I'm actually going to start selling. And it's the Realtor Evolution platform. And it literally goes from step A to Z of what they need to do to set up their business. It's not a typical coaching course where I say, come to my coaching course and I want to sell you this $20,000 thing. It's actually, hey, this is how you do it. And what I really want to focus on is team leaders.
Okay.
And now we've gone away from this whole brick and mortar thing. We've gone away from, we're doing virtual interviews now.
Yep.
Not going to offices anymore.
Right.
So I have really gotten my cost to run my company down to where marketing is where I spend the most money. And I've got it down to where I've kind of mastered the virtual assistant space. And I run my entire business off of virtual assistants. And then my team is all virtual and we all collaborate, being from Miami to Tampa to Orlando, and then in the Philippines and other areas. So I can teach, and I have gone to brokerages and done these trainings live. And then now I'm going to have kind of like a course put together for them just on how you cannot fail. Because I had a team out of St. Petersburg prior to COVID that was all in office. And it was awful for me. My highest and best use of time was on new agents that couldn't really sell.
Right.
And so, like I said, I failed, and it wasn't a failure. It wasn't like I went bankrupt or I wasn't making money. It just wasn't excelling at the rate that it should. So now, very happy to be with the broker that I'm with. I'm very happy to run my team virtually. And I just kind of have it down to like a fine science. The system, the foundation is there.
That's wonderful. I mean, it sounds like you've gone through all the hardship that any team lead would need to go to have the experience that you need to be able to really help and dive in. Because I think for me, a team lead, and we call it a team leader and not a team manager, because we've talked about the difference between a leader and a manager. We won't get into that, but I think a team lead really can dictate the success of any individual agent if provided with the right framework. And I think that if you could put a framework together and spell A to Z out for an agent, again, it's like running your own business, right? There have been a lot of people who've tried and have failed, and there have been a lot of people who've tried and have been successful. It's just knowing the steps you need to take and actually taking action on that. So that's extremely exciting. So we've talked about the mindset. We've talked about having some kind of structure. What tools does a team lead or an individual agent need to be successful? Because I mean, like you said, in today's day and age, technology is kind of running the world, and things being virtual and everybody wanting instant gratification and satisfaction. It's got to be done now. What kind of tools do you put in place for your team or for yourself in order to make sure you're meeting those marks?
So the two questions, there's really one, what is the tools needed as an individual agent? What is the tools needed as a team lead? So the first thing that I think about being an individual agent is every individual agent should join a team. I think that you have to think like a customer. And if I come to you with a resume and I say, hey, Daniel, I want to help you buy investment properties. And you say, well, how many have you sold? And I go, zero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be very, very welcoming to that.
All the agents on my team can use my credentials as background to say my team has, this many passive income properties. My team has done this many fix and flips. My team has helped this many investors, which is all true. And one thing that I do with them is a lot of calls with an investor. I take an agent, I get on the call with the client. I obviously promote the agent, but I also reassure that client that I'm involved in the transaction. And so the first couple deals that they're doing, I'm very involved. All contracts should be verified by a team leader. Our brokerage expects us as a team lead to review those things. So as an individual agent, you're not going to be able to walk into a career that you're not educated on, fresh out of real estate school. It's kind of embarrassing that you can spend $200 and get a real estate license. That doesn't make you a realtor. So you're not going to learn the career field and market yourself and brand yourself and lead gen and have money for marketing and then do all the education and research and prospecting you need to do. You're just not going to happen. So you need that team. You need, and it's worth giving a team lead 25 to 50% all day long. I am very gracious with my team. I only charge 25%. Because I don't want to bring people in, train them for a year and have them leave. So instead of what most team leads do and charging that 50% and they have constant revolving doors, I really don't have a lot of people. I have people leave because they can't make it, but I don't have people leave once they get on my team as an agent. They want to stay. They have no overhead at all. I pay for everything.
Wow.
So as a team lead, so as an agent, you need to join a team. I mean, it's that simple. And I'm not saying that because I'm a team lead. I'm telling you because even myself, when I went to Florida, I tried to do all that myself and I had 10 years of experience and I couldn't do it. So that's why I'm saying that. As a team leader, you need to have a lot of patience. One, you have to have a passion for training and learning. It's no different in my business if I'm going to go out and meet someone at a mobile home park and do a $50,000 transaction, or I'm going to set up a development portfolio from ground out multifamily units. That's going to be, 50 grand in commission for me or 100 grand in commission for me. So you have to have a passion to want to teach, to want to train, and you have to have a lot of patience. You also have to know how to have highest and best use of your time. I have an accountability rule for all my agents, and they have to be held accountable in order to receive leads, in order to have my time. We have weekly meetings that are recorded. My broker offers, 60 live trainings a week. So I leverage those as well. And I think as a team lead, you have to have a concrete system in place. It has to be week 1, they do this, week 2, they do this, week 3, they do this. I've created a 4 weeks to success program that will be in that package. If agents wanted to purchase it or a team lead wanted to purchase it, that will be available. And that 4 weeks to success program is just broken out into marketing, prospecting, follow-up, and research and education. And every week they have an assignment. So I teach them how to become an expert in their market. I teach them how to stay uber focused. You have to be disciplined. So they have a time tracking sheet that tracks how many hours they're spending on all 4 of these things. So when an agent comes to me and says, Betsy, I just closed 6 transactions and I have nothing in the pipeline. I go, well, let's take a look at your time tracker. How much time do we spend on prospecting versus how much time do we spend on follow-up or networking events or whatever? So I think that you have to have those tools for your agents, and you also have to hold them accountable. Not everybody's going to make it. So as a team lead, you bring them in, you lead all the horses to the water, whether they choose to drink or not, and then you move on. It's that simple. And so people on my team that get a lot of my time are people that attend every training. They constantly are in communication with me about how can they get better. They're filling out their marketing report every week, and then they're also filling out their lead gen report every week, and they're meeting with those virtual assistants on my team. So we write a blog every week for our agents. We create a marketing plan every month for our agents, and they meet with our marketing coordinator. Believe it or not, that resource is available to everyone on my team, and 50% take advantage of it.
Wow, that's huge. That's, I mean, huge in a terrible way.
Yeah. So if someone calls me and wants to have a marketing call and take up an hour of my time,
They better have filled that out first.
I will contact my marketing coordinator and say, hey, has Johnny been, doing whatever? And if they're like, no, not really, I'm like, well, go schedule that call with Johnny. So I'm a good delegator.
Mhm.
The other thing that I really want to touch on is that if an agent's going to pick a team or a team lead is going to lead, I'm not a big fan of people saying, well, I'm a team leader, but I'm not an active real estate agent. And I think that that's a big downfall in today's world. I think, we have brokerages that are just recruiting agents and they're not actively selling. So because they're not actively selling as a team lead, how are they staying up on what's happening? How can they guide their agents to negotiate contracts? How do they know what's going on with the temperature in the market? How do they know updated contracts and forms? All they're basically being is like a cheerleader. So I think for me, I'm actively selling in the market. I'm doing transactions every month.
Right,
I'm
right.
actively selling investment properties. So I'm out there in the same trenches they're in, and I don't ever expect them to do things I'm not doing. I think there's difference between a coach and a program and an active team leader with a brokerage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, again, that goes back to the whole leader versus a manager. It's great to be a good delegator, but how do you know what to delegate if you haven't gone through the steps and the formality yourself, right? I could tell my team to do whatever all day long, but if I don't know what they're doing, how am I expecting any kind of KPI results? And I think that accountability that you talked about is something that I don't see enough team leaders do. On our platform, we've got a tremendous number of teams that come in, and I think the biggest difference between the successful teams and those that kind of drop out after the first 90 days are the team leads that don't sit down with their agents and say, show me what you're doing. Let me see your nurturing platform. Let me see the text messages and the emails, and give me 5 examples of, maybe conditions or some kind of objection that you received that you weren't able to overcome so that I can help you so that it doesn't happen again. And I think that that accountability part is probably where most team leads just totally drop the ball. They don't set up their team for any kind of nurturing. They don't have any kind of scripts or templates or anything like that. They don't walk them through the sales process, let alone let's talk about what we could have done differently so that next time, we actually close the transaction and not lose out to the other 5 agents that they're talking to. So it does make a tremendous amount of sense. Just like ourselves, our management team is required to pick up calls and not only listen to calls, but actually pick up the calls and make calls themselves. Our management team for the sales side, the support team, our concierge team as well, they have to actively doing what their downline is doing so they know how to do it better.
Well, I think that when it comes to lead gen and lead conversion, I think that they're two very separate spaces. And I think that
I would agree with that, absolutely.
the first thing you have to know is you have to know your product. So, you can generate 1,000 leads. Lead gen is not a problem, friends.
Right.
We have Facebook, we have SetSchedule, we have all these things. And the first thing that I feel like agents do is they don't go, what's working? They go, well, I'm going to do it better.
Right.
So they say, why would you not use SetSchedule that has a proven system to generate leads? You're going to go out and figure that out on your own. You're not going to master your craft. So that's the first mistake agents and team leads make. And then they go, well, you've given me these leads and they're all bad. And, that's just not allowed in my meetings. The only person in an equation with 100 bad leads is the agent, because the truth is leads are a numbers game. And so if you put 100 leads in the system, and internet leads take 12 to 18 months sometimes to nurture. And it's all about building a pipeline. So you have a couple different resources. Where am I going to get leads that need some nurturing? Where am I going to get leads that are just straight cold calls? Where am I going to get leads that are hot off the press? And what is my return on investments? What's my KPI with those leads?
So how important is it to have such a diverse lead type generation? You talked about 3 or 4 different types. Why is it so important for a team lead to be able to funnel those different types of leads to their team?
Well, because you have to qualify and nurture all of them differently. So if you pull a SetSchedule lead and you see that their budget's $500,000, we all know that's not exactly accurate, right? Because they could look at 10 properties. I mean, we get people looking at our system, they'll look at $28 million houses in Miami.
We call those window shoppers.
Well, and so it could be somebody that really wants that property. That's the mindset you have to have.
Right.
Is this person might really
I
want
see
this
what you're
property,
saying.
you
I
know,
see what you're saying.
but we don't really know, right? So I don't think it's about deciphering the lead source. I think it's more or less about taking a look what happened in the market. You know, right now I'm not going to go chase listings. It's a waste of my time. So I'm going to adjust my marketing platform as a team lead to be heavy with SetSchedule to obtain those buyers, heavy with maybe a Facebook ad that's going to be everybody on Facebook looking at houses. And I'm going to offer people what they're already inquiring about. I'm going to offer you a free list of reduced price homes because there isn't a lot of those, right? I'm going to offer you a free list of just listed houses because there's not a lot of those. Was it like that 7 months ago? No. Is it going to get to a point where agents are going to be more needed with, listing property? Yeah, because the market is going to get a little tighter. Same thing on the investment side. I'm going to market myself to be an investor friendly realtor. There's not a lot of those.
Yeah.
So generating leads has to fit your sales team. And so you have to go, hey man, I just got this new agent in Miami. They're Spanish speaking. They come from a property managed background. I'm going to find a lead source to cater to that agent. Because if you as a team lead can't look at what these people are capable of, you're not going to take somebody that's 65 and tell them to work millennial condo buyers in Britain.
That's a very good point. No, that's a very good point that most agents don't understand.
Everybody in, right?
Yep.
And you go, it's same thing with me. Like, I'm not somebody that's going to be great with 2 25-year-olds that have no idea what they want and they need a bunch of hand holding. They want to see 100 properties. I'm out, man. I'm going to say, you should do this. And here's why. But I have agents on my team that love that, and they can massage those people and nurture those people and be hand holders and give them the service that they need. So when you're looking at leads and then what type of lead sources generate what type of clients,
Right.
and then who do you have that can service those people? That's how you have a high conversion rate.
That's awesome. And you brought out SetSchedule a couple of times, obviously that being us, and for us that was actually extremely important. I think that was kind of the business model that we structured, or that's the idea we structured our business model about, was having a lot of different lead vendors, such as your realty track, where you're going to be having people who are going to be looking for foreclosures because they're those are where the investors are going to come from, versus those who are Facebook, like the ones who are millennials. You can connect with them on Facebook. What was it that got you so excited about SetSchedule that you said, you know what, I want to get involved in this as far as getting an entire kind of a platform for your team? What was the deciding factor that got you involved with us?
So I think that as a single agent or a team lead, you have to look at budget and you have to look at cost of business. I think that for somebody that doesn't have a CRM, the factor that you guys have one is phenomenal, because they can literally track them with your new platform that just got updated. They can track all of their stuff in there. We had a very well built out CRM, so it kind of is double duty for us. But what I love about SetSchedule as a team lead is basically SetSchedule monitors us and looks at not how many we've closed, but are we updating our leads in the system, which is totally fair. I'm going to give you 100 leads. I'm going to look at what you're doing with all of my leads, because that's how we make money, right? So as a team lead, you can get a limited amount of SetSchedule leads, which is awesome. So if you look at my track record in SetSchedule, there are some times where I'm not pulling leads. you know, because I'm not going to pull leads that we don't have enough agents to convert. There's times where I can pull in different areas. No other lead source has that. So if I'm heavy with my Miami agents, I'm going to pull in Miami. Do I have people in West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, you know, Miami Beach? And I'm going to pull leads in those areas, which is amazing. When you run a Facebook ad, you're targeting a 15-mile radius in one zip code. You don't get the big map. You know what I mean? The other thing is SetSchedule is not a monthly fee. It's a fee that you pay, you budget for that yearly, and then you determine how many leads that you're going to pull. SetSchedule doesn't make money if we don't make money.
Right.
So the thing that I like is just there's a lot of flexibility, but I like it for other team leads and agents that don't have that accountability piece set up. Like I have that big, massive system that I have. If you're a team lead and you want a lead source that's going to give you accountability automatically, it's SetSchedule 100%. Zillow's not going to give you that. Realtor.com's not going to give you that. And they're also going to give you monthly fees and contracts. So with SetSchedule, it's for a year. It's a one-time fee. You can pull as many leads as you want. You also get those every month or two meetings with
the agent success consultant
that can say, hey, what are you doing with your team? Walk me through the nurture campaigns you're putting them on. Why do you think that you've pulled 350 leads and you've converted 0? You know, the thing about our business and that we should do with agents and that lead sources should do with people is the numbers don't lie, kids.
Right.
So it should be a 1 to 2% conversion if you're bottom of the barrel and a 4% conversion if you're good. So if you've pulled 1,000 SetSchedule leads, I do think in everyone's defense, you have to give it a year. You have to do year one.
Yep.
Building the pipeline. So you may only have 1, 2, 3 transactions the first year if you're a team leader, you're running multiple sources or whatever. But now you have that pipeline of people. So now we're into that 12-month mark, and that 12 to 18-month mark is fresh. They've been nurtured. It's unbelievable. We have a no lead left behind policy. So the only way that we opt out is if someone provides a death certificate or they unsubscribe. It doesn't matter if they're in the system and they're non-responsive. If they have yet to tell us stop, my agents are required to work them. So when you hit that 18-month mark, it's unbelievable how many leads you'll see in your system. And I get notifications. Client has gone from archive to active. Lead has revisited site after 4 months. Those are people that they've been looking at your stuff for a reason, man. And you've now created this brand and they know you give free home warranties. You're a full service package team. We're in 2 different markets. We have all these financing options and they've been seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. And now they're ready. And it allows an agent to go, if I'm looking at my SetSchedule CRM, who is going to make me money today? Who is going to make me money tomorrow? Who's going to make me money in 6 months? And who's going to make me in 12 months? So now my business isn't doing this.
It's sustained and flat and throughout the whole process. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think as team leads, that's our number one goal is to know 6 months from now. I mean, obviously we want to see that upward trend always. But making sure that we don't have those dips, those valleys. And it's something that I think a lot of team leaders don't understand how to sustain a continuous stream of flow of income for themselves and for their team. And that's super, super important.
And I think that there are just advantages when you compare, before I said apples to apples, but I probably should have said apples.
Apples to oranges. Or pears.
Right. When you're comparing lead sources and what you get out of the lead sources, you have to really sit down and go, okay, what do I get? And what do I have? So it's no different than what an agent needs, what a client needs, you know, what are you looking for in a lead source? And I'm not saying this because it's a SetSchedule interview. You cannot find another lead source that's a one-stop shop with the CRM, with the agent consulting coaches, and also with the capability to pull leads out of different areas based on what areas you're servicing or what you think is hot. I think that you can't find that with other lead sources, and you're not going to have the flexibility with other lead sources. So you pick your poison. If you're paying Zillow $1,000 a month,
that's more than you'd be spending.
You have 0 control over how many leads you get, right?
Right.
So you got to do it for 3 months. So you take 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Did you get 5? Did you get 10? Did you get 12?
Don't know.
Well, with that schedule, you have a one-time payment, and then you're pulling as many leads as you want.
Right.
You
Right.
can take that payment number and divide them by how many leads you got, and then take a look at. The other thing is, I think that you have to have leads that you can fail on
Okay.
as agents and as team leads, right? So if I pull 25 SetSchedule leads and I send those out to agents, I like to use those as leads that agents just on my team, I want you to cold call all those people and say, hey, Johnny, you were looking in Lakeland, blah, 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 blah. If I'm spending $1,000 a month on 5 leads, Johnny's not cold calling any of those 5.
$200 a lead. Yeah, that's yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that in respect to a lead source like SetSchedule, it's your obligation as a team lead. I have a full-time virtual assistant that manages SetSchedule. And so he goes into my CRM and extracts the information. So if Orlando on my team is given a SetSchedule lead, he has to call within the first 5 minutes. He has to double call. He then has to call for 6 days straight. He has to send specific tests. He has to put them on a market report. He has to put them on a search alert. He has all these requirements for those first 7 days. And then within that 7-day time frame, we're updating SetSchedule CRM. The client's on a market report, the client's on a search alert, they've been double called, they are on this nurture campaign. Once that 7-day ends, we decide, was it a good phone number? Was it a good email? If it was, now they're going to go on a 30-day campaign. So we're just going to consistently put them through the process. So with any lead source, I don't like to hear agents say, you gave me bad leads, or tell a marketing company you gave me bad leads, because in reality, no lead's a bad lead. They all have raised their hand and clicked on something that they were interested in.
Yep.
Can they give us a bogus phone number? Absolutely. Can they give us a bogus email? Absolutely. SetSchedule wouldn't know that. Zillow wouldn't know that. Realtor.com wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that. But it's our job to decipher these leads coming in. What do we have to offer them? Do we know our products, and how can we convert them? I love we use the ARP, so it's acknowledge, respond, pivot.
Okay.
So when someone says like just looking, we say, great, I see you looking at 3 beds and 2 baths. What are you looking for? What else are you looking for?
Right.
It's not just, okay, get back with me. And we train the agents in that aspect. So I think that team leads and agents can't really say to SetSchedule, Zillow, or anybody, hey, I've gotten 100 leads and I haven't.
I've failed them all. Yeah. That's just the show of the fact that you haven't done your job to the full extent that you need to as a real estate agent. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So any final words for anybody out there who's either, like we talked about those who are looking to start. How about someone who's looking to start a team? When do you know when do you know that you're ready to start a team?
I think when you have a good resume in the business, I think you have to be able to say to anybody, I started here, I've done this, I have a system in place to help you be successful. I think you're ready to start a team. For me, I have a pretty big referral base now in between both states that I've been in. So I kick out most of my residential stuff to people on my team. And so it's nice for those new agents that they're learning their sales skills. They're making some of those calls to leads that are come in from cold to warm to whatever. But I can say, hey, Dylan, I have a buyer. It's a personal client of mine. I'd like you to work them on the residential side. Keep me in the loop, but you take care of them. You should have a good kind of referral base. You can kick those out to your team. And then what do you want to do as a team lead? For me, I want to focus on multifamily investment portfolios. So now I have 25 agents that can work the residential realm. And then also I want the agents that want to work those residential 2 to 4 unit multifamilies. So now I'm kicking those out and I'm training them on how to analyze cash on cash return and how to set up those investments for people. I also run a property management company. So all of my businesses intertwine, which kind of makes us full service. I only manage properties of investments I've sold. So I'm not out there seeking property management business. Again, a lot of entrepreneurs fail because they have 15. I love it when I read, well, I have 17 streams of income. And I'm thinking,
They must not be doing very well that you need to have 17 of them.
yeah, it's like 100% divided by 17. Now, if they're all totally hands off, that's different. But 90% of the time, nothing is entirely hands off.
Right.
So I tell people that want to be a team lead, why are you starting a team? If you're starting a team because you think you're going to make a ton of money off of agents that are just out selling, you have the wrong mentality. The first thing is I like to train and I'm good at it. So I feel like you're only good as many people as you touch. I feel like there was a lot of people that trained me. The main one being my father. I made a lot of mistakes. I asked a lot of questions. I was like a sponge, and he was willing to give everything that he knew in the business and connect me with resources. It was never a father-daughter thing. It was definitely a business relationship. Everybody was replaceable, including me. So, that was the best gift he could ever give me. And I want to give that gift to other people.
That's
And I think that as a team lead, you have to have some passion, just like getting in the real estate business. I also think that it's time for you to start a team when you genuinely have a good book of business, you're really good at marketing, you have too many leads that you can't work them yourself. I hit that wall where I was like, oh my God, my phone's ringing so much and I've got so many emails. It doesn't matter how many assistants I have. I need another Betsy.
right.
So even if someone can function at 50% Betsy, that's 50% more people that are going to get service that I genuinely just can't give 100% customer service to.
Fair enough.
So you
Fair
can have
enough.
a team of 2 people. Your goal does not have to be a team of 100 agents.
Right.
What I want is I don't want to be somebody like there's a team right in my backyard, Keller Williams, New Tampa. I've been a part of that brokerage. I think there was 450 agents like 5 years ago, and 5% of the agents sold. I don't want to have a team like that. So I try to bring in quality, doesn't mean experience, but people that actually want to sell real estate. And so I think team leads should be mindful of that. I think you can be a gangbuster team with 5 people.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great structure. That is a great structure.
$10 million worth of real estate a month, and look at a team that has 30 agents that sells 2.
Yeah.
I think 100 transactions doesn't matter because in today's world, there isn't a $250,000 price point, right? There's a $500,000 or $600,000 price point. You can't even find a house.
That's the new 250.
Right. So I tell my agents, I go, well, think about it like this. You had to do 5 transactions before to sell $1 million real estate. Now you can do 2.
Awesome. So I'm either an agent who's looking to get in touch with Betsy, or looking to maybe start to grow my portfolio of properties. How do we get in touch with you?
You can definitely find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. My Google Voice number, I still have an original Illinois number, but my Google Voice number that does ring direct to me is 813-609-0229. And my personal email is not I love horses or anything crazy. It's just betsytinnervin@gmail.com. You can definitely find Tampa Bay Investments. You can definitely find Miami International Investments. But I'm also proud to say that any one of the agents that's on my team, that's listed on my roster, that you see on Facebook, that you see on LinkedIn, they're all phenomenal. I've been really blessed and lucky that people will come in, they'll kind of weed themselves out after 30 days, but anybody that's stuck around, they're just great people to work with. So it's not the Betsy Tinnervin Association or team for a reason. I never wanted to brand myself and put people under me. If you look at any agent on my team, it's Sean Weatherington, Tampa Bay Investments. You would never know I'm his team lead.
Mhm.
He has his own name, his own brand. And so I'm proud of Tampa Bay Investments and Miami International Investments, that it's not just Betsy Tinnervin. It's people like Sean that have a full-blown 4-year real estate degree. I don't even have that. I'm almost done with my CCIM, but I don't have that credential. You have Orlando Ramirez that has years, 6-7 years in retail sales. That guy is just a stellar negotiator. You have people like Kyle and Dylan that are working with millennials that are still in their 20s that get on my team. They've been with me 6 months and they're doing 4 to 5 transactions a month because they're out there, they found a niche and they're hungry. I could go on and on about the agents on my team, but everybody is niche focused and some of them can do things better than me. And I'm proud to say that.
You always want to surround yourself with people you want to be like is something my mom always taught me. And it's awesome to hear that you have such a well-rounded team of individuals that, have strengths that we might not have as leaders. So that's super exciting to see. Betsy, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome. I gained a lot, and I hope that the listeners do as well. I mean, there's so much knowledge to be pulled from that. And what I really enjoy, and I got to say I appreciate about you, Betsy, is that you do give very clear, concise instructions on what needs to get done. It's not vague, and it's not general. So it's very, it sounds like if you were to get involved in you as far as an agent, I'd get a very clear understanding of what I need to do when. And that's very refreshing to see. So kudos to you. No, we do the same thing here.
If you talk to my agents on my team, they have a running joke. And they give me, excuse me, but they give me as much shit as I give them.
As it should be.
They'll tell you, hey, Betsy has a protocol for a protocol for a protocol. And they'll tell you 2 things. Before you call her, you look on the Google Drive, because I have all the protocols, or you go to our WhatsApp group and you ask a question because
there's already there. Yeah.
For sure. And I think that, I think anybody that wants to contact me that is a team lead, I'm happy to share any information that I have. And then, like I said, we will be launching our platform that will be very reasonably priced, that people can purchase as a single agent, as a team lead, and it'll have all the videos because I record all of my team weekly meetings on Wednesday nights, and they're all titled. So if you wanted to see me teaching cash on cash return to new agents, you have that video. If you want to see me talking about lead conversion, you have that video. So I'm happy to discuss that with anybody that also is using SetSchedule. It's not a secret. I'll tell you what we're doing, how I feel like we've been successful, maybe what they could do to utilize the resource better, or if someone's considering SetSchedule, feel free to give me a call. And I'm happy to be here. I was honored when Alan contacted me and said that you guys kind of wanted to put me in a spotlight situation and talk about who I am and what I've done, because I am proud of my accomplishments and I'm proud of my failures. So
as you should be. As you should be. I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot of success going on, and that's again, it's very refreshing to see someone who's so intimately involved in so much, not only in their own business but in their downline's business as well. So kudos to you, and thanks again for your time. And I look forward to hearing about more success coming from you and your team.
Anybody that knows me, I am a very casual girl. I'm more of a construction girl, so I'm not the agent that's coming in a dress and high heels. I'm the girl that sells millions of dollars in real estate in yoga pants and a Nike dry fit.
Nowadays, that seems to be the more professional way to come up.
Like, for this interview, for you to get straightened hair and makeup, my team's going to go, who is that lady? So I want to be a resource to you guys. I appreciate you having me today. I hope that my comments weren't, long-winded, but I wanted to make sure that people really got some good, tangible stuff to take away from this. And again, happy to share, my 4 Weeks to Success programs and any other resources that you guys need to help you guys be successful, or anybody else.
Thanks, Betsy. You're awesome. We appreciate your time, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you so much.